Freedom is often seen as the ability to control our destiny, to steer the course of our lives with precision and intent. We believe that if we can just manage every detail, we can ensure a future free from pain, disappointment, and failure. But in this pursuit of control, we often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion. The more we try to control, the more we feel the weight of the world pressing down on us. Yet, what if true freedom doesn't lie in control but in letting go? What if the very act of releasing our grip on life's reins could be the key to unlocking a deeper, more profound sense of freedom? The paradox of control and freedom is one of life's most profound lessons. The more we cling to control, the more restricted we become, confined by the boundaries of our own expectations and fears. We build walls around ourselves, thinking they will protect us, but instead they imprison us. We attempt to script every moment, but in doing so, we miss the beauty of the unscripted, the spontaneous, the unexpected. Control can give us a false sense of security, but it also isolates us from the richness of life's experiences. Consider the story of Sarah, a successful professional who always felt the need to control every aspect of her life. Her days were meticulously planned, every hour accounted for, every outcome anticipated. Yet, despite her best efforts, she often felt overwhelmed, burdened by the constant pressure to maintain control. It wasn't until she faced a situation that was completely out of her hands, a sudden health crisis, that she realized the limits of her control. In the midst of uncertainty, Sarah learned to let go. She began to trust in the process, to accept that not everything could be planned or predicted. This shift in perspective didn't just relieve her anxiety. It opened her up to new possibilities and a deeper sense of peace. She found freedom not in controlling every detail but in embracing the flow of life. Letting go is not about giving up or resigning to fate. It's about recognizing the limits of our power and embracing the natural flow of life. It's about trusting that life has a rhythm, a wisdom beyond our understanding. When we let go, we open ourselves to a life that is fuller, richer, and more authentic. We begin to see that the moments of greatest joy, growth, and connection often come when we release our grip and allow life to unfold as it will. This shift in perspective can lead to a more fulfilling life. By letting go, we create space for new possibilities, new relationships, and new opportunities. We stop fighting against the current and start moving with it. We learn to dance with life rather than trying to choreograph every step. This doesn't mean we abandon our dreams or goals. Rather, we approach them with a sense of flexibility and openness. We set our intentions, but we remain open to the unexpected, trusting that life will guide us to where we need to be. Imagine a river flowing through a valley. If we try to swim against the current, we exhaust ourselves, fighting a force that is far greater than us. But if we allow ourselves to flow with the river, we move effortlessly, carried by its power and grace. Life is much the same. When we stop resisting and start flowing with life's natural current, we find that things often work out in ways we never could have planned. We discover opportunities that we never could have imagined, and we experience a sense of ease and freedom that comes from letting go. But how do we practice this freedom from control in our daily lives? It begins with awareness. We must first recognize the areas of our lives where we are holding on too tightly, where our need for control is causing us stress and anxiety. Once we've identified these areas, we can start to loosen our grip. This might mean delegating tasks at work, allowing others to take the lead in certain situations, or simply accepting that not everything will go according to plan. One powerful exercise is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to live in the present moment, to focus on what we can do right now rather than worrying about the future. When we are mindful, we become more aware of our thoughts and feelings, and we can choose to respond rather than react. We can ask ourselves, is this something I can control? If not, can I let it go? Over time, this practice can help us develop a greater sense of inner peace and freedom. For example, if you find yourself overwhelmed by a situation at work that you cannot control, take a moment to breathe deeply and center yourself in the present. Focus on what you can do in that moment, and then release the need to control the outcome. Trust that you have done your best and that the rest is beyond your control. Another exercise is to embrace uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control it is like trying to hold water in your hands. Instead of resisting uncertainty, we can learn to embrace it as a natural part of life. We can remind ourselves that it's okay not to have all the answers, that it's okay to be unsure. By accepting uncertainty, we free ourselves from the need to control every outcome, and we open ourselves to new possibilities. For instance, instead of worrying about how a relationship will evolve, focus on enjoying the present moments with the person, trusting that the relationship will grow naturally without needing to force it in a certain direction. A practical way to let go of control is to engage in activities that force us to relinquish control, such as practicing a form of creative expression like painting, writing, or dancing. These activities allow us to express ourselves without judgment, without a predetermined outcome, and without the need to control every detail. They remind us of the joy that comes from simply being in the moment, from letting go and allowing creativity to flow freely. Personal stories of finding freedom through acceptance can be incredibly powerful. Consider the story of John, who had always been a perfectionist. His need to control every detail in his life led to immense stress and even health problems. It wasn't until he faced a significant personal challenge, losing a job he had worked so hard to secure, that he began to see the limitations of his approach. At first, he was devastated, feeling as though he had lost everything. But as time passed, he began to accept the situation and realized that this loss was actually an opportunity. He found new passions, developed new skills, and ultimately started a business that brought him far more fulfillment than his previous job ever did. By letting go of the need to control every aspect of his career, John found a freedom and satisfaction that he never thought possible. Another story might be of Emily, who had always tried to control her relationships, fearing that if she didn't, they would fall apart. She would constantly worry about what others thought of her, always trying to be perfect, always trying to make sure everyone was happy. But this need for control left her feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. It wasn't until she began to let go, to allow others to be who they were, and to focus on her own growth and happiness, that she found a true sense of freedom. Her relationships became more authentic, more loving, and more fulfilling because they were no longer based on fear and control but on trust and acceptance. In letting go of control, we don't lose ourselves. We find ourselves. We discover a freedom that isn't dependent on external circumstances, but is rooted in a deep sense of trust and acceptance. We learn that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, that we don't have to have all the answers to be at peace. By embracing life's natural flow, we find a liberation that is more profound than any control we could ever hope to achieve. So, find freedom in what you can't control. Let go of the need to script every moment, and instead, trust in life's rhythm. Embrace the uncertainty, the spontaneity, the unexpected. In doing so, you will discover a freedom that fills your heart with peace and your life with joy. Life is a journey, not a destination, and the path to true freedom is found not in controlling every step, but in letting go and trusting in the journey itself.